Rumors about toxicity. Ellen, your name's in the news more than the weather, Colbert began. Rumors about toxicity on your show. What do you say? People love digging for dirt, Stephen, Ellen snapped. I create a show that makes people happy. Problems? I'm fixing them. What else? Fixing them? His voice sharpened. Employees talk about humiliation, pressure. Is your smile just a mask? Ellen leaned forward, her eyes flashing. You think I'm a monster? She threw back sarcastically. I didn't know every detail, but I'll handle it. Don't you dare judge me. The audience gasped. Caitlin, your employee, says she was threatened with firing for taking leave after her brother's death. Did you know? Ellen froze, her heart pounding. The name was familiar, but the details were vague. If that's true, it's disgusting, she said sharply. I'll deal with it, but don't pin this on me, Stephen. I'm not the villain. The audience erupted. Ellen, are you out of touch with reality? He struck. Millions, mansions, while your employees suffered. Ellen stood, her eyes blazing. Out of touch? She thundered. I fought for every step in this industry. Don't you dare twist my story. The audience exploded into chaotic, loud applause. Colbert signaled for a break. We'll be back after the break. He shouted. It's getting hotter, so don't switch channels. So, Ellen, Colbert started, before the break, you said you're ready to tell the truth. Let's talk. People want to know. How could you not notice what was happening in your own company? You're not just a host, you're the boss. You're responsible for everything. The audience murmured. Listen, Stephen, Ellen said, her voice low and sharp. You think I sit in an office reading every complaint? I have a team of hundreds, and I trusted them. If they screwed up, that's on them. But I'm here, and I'm ready to fix it. So what do you want, me to beat my chest or to actually talk? Actually talk? Fine, he said, his tone hardening. One of your employees, Caitlin, said she was forced to work the day of her brother's funeral. They told her, show up or you're fired. You call that the team screwed up? Or is that the culture you created? The audience gasped. If that's true, I'll deal with those responsible, she said sharply. But don't hang this on me, Stephen. I wasn't standing over Caitlin with a whip. I was building a show that lifted people up, while people like you chased dirt for ratings. The audience erupted. Ellen, you blame the press, your managers, but people want to know, where were you? His voice grew louder, almost accusatory. You made millions, lived in mansions, while your employees were afraid to speak up. Do you even realize how that looks to regular people? It was a blow meant to break her. The audience froze, waiting for Ellen to explode or retreat. Instead, she stood, her eyes burning, her voice low and dangerous. You want to know where I was? She said, her words cutting like a knife. I was in the trenches, Stephen. I fought for my career in a world that didn't want an openly gay woman on TV. I lost everything and rose again. And I won't let you or anyone else twist my story to paint me as a spoiled star. The audience erupted in uneven applause. Some cheered. Others were stunned by her audacity. Colbert, sensing he was losing the upper hand, opened his mouth to respond, but then came a twist no one expected. A voice rang out from backstage, female, trembling, but clear. Ellen, can you stop with the excuses? Onto the stage, clutching an assistant's arm, stepped a young woman with a pale face and dark circles under her eyes. It was Caitlin, the same Caitlin whose story had just surfaced. The audience froze, producers scrambled, and Colbert looked struck. No one, not even he, knew she was there. Caitlin? Ellen said quietly, her bravado fading, but her resolve intact. What are you doing here? Caitlin stepped forward, her hands trembling, but her gaze steady. I'm here because I'm tired of hearing you dodge responsibility, she said, her voice breaking but pressing on. You say you didn't know? I wrote you letters, Ellen. I begged for help. And what did I get? Silence. Then I was fired. Caitlin, thank you for coming, Colbert said, his voice soft but his eyes gleaming with anticipation of a bombshell. Ellen, this is your chance to respond. What do you say? Caitlin, Ellen said, her voice quiet but clear, I didn't see your letters. I'm ashamed you went through this. But I promise you, right here, I'll make it right. Not for the cameras, not for him. She nodded at Colbert, but for you. Ellen, those are strong words, but... Colbert began, but Ellen cut him off. Enough, Stephen, she said, her voice sharp as a blade. This isn't your show anymore. This is between me and Caitlin. Find out in 1 minute, so stay tuned. Caitlin, Colbert began, his voice cautious but laced with anticipation. You said you wrote to Ellen and got no response. You accused her of silence. What exactly do you want her to know? What happened? I worked on Ellen's show for 5 years, Caitlin started, her eyes locked on Ellen. I was a producer's assistant, coordinating guests. I loved my job because I believed in what we were doing. This be-kind idea. But backstage, it was different. Managers screamed at us if we weren't perfect. We worked 14-hour days with no breaks. If anyone complained, they were told, you're replaceable. There's a line out the door. Caitlin continued, her voice growing louder, as if finally releasing years of pent-up pain. When my brother died, I was shattered. I asked for a week off to be with my family. They told me I could have 2 days, or I'd be fired. I went back to work on the day of his funeral. Ellen. I stood backstage, wiping tears, while you danced on stage. I wrote you 3 letters, begging for a meeting to tell you what was happening. I sent them through your personal assistant. But there was no reply, ever. The audience erupted in whispers, some covering their mouths in shock. Ellen, these are serious allegations, Colbert said, his tone even, but his eyes closely watching her reaction. Caitlin says she tried to reach you. Why didn't you respond? Did you even know? Caitlin, I didn't see your letters, Ellen said, her words heavy but sincere. I'm ashamed you went through this. I trusted my team, and they let me down. But that's no excuse. I should have known. Caitlin shook her head, her eyes filling with tears. You should have known, Ellen, she said, her voice breaking. You were our leader. We looked up to you, believed in you. But you were so busy with your image that you didn't see us suffering. And not just me. Dozens of people were afraid to speak up because they knew they'd be crushed. I can't change the past, Ellen said. But I can change the future. I want you to tell me everything, not here, not for the cameras, but in person. I want to know the names of those who hurt you. I want to know what I can do to make this right. Not for the show, but for you and everyone who was hurt. Caitlin stared at her, her face a mix of pain and disbelief. She opened her mouth to respond but hesitated, as if unsure. The audience waited, breathless. An elderly woman in the 3rd row, with gray hair tied in a bun, clutched a handkerchief, her eyes brimming with tears. Why should I trust you? Caitlin finally said, her voice quiet but piercing. You could have said this years ago. Why now? Ellen took a deep breath, her shoulders slumping as if shedding a burden. Because I'm tired of hiding, she said. I thought my dances, my jokes, were enough to make the world better. But I was wrong. I didn't see you, Caitlin. That's on me. Give me a chance to make it right. Not for the public, but for us. The audience burst into applause, uneven, as if torn between belief and doubt. Caitlin stood, her eyes glistening with tears, but she didn't look away. She nodded, faintly, but it was a gesture everyone noticed. Colbert, sensing the moment's peak, stood from his chair. Ellen, Caitlin, this was powerful, he said, his voice trembling with emotion. I think we've all witnessed something real. But I have to ask, what's next? Ellen looked at Caitlin, then at the audience. Her face was open, vulnerable, but her eyes held newfound strength. Next, I listen, she said. I'll meet with Caitlin, with anyone who wants to talk. I'll change my team, my rules. And if anyone thinks I can't do it, she smiled, softly this time, just watch me. The audience erupted in louder applause, still mixed with murmurs. Caitlin looked at Ellen, her face unreadable, but a spark, perhaps of hope, perhaps cautious trust, flickered in her eyes. Colbert, feeling the show had reached its zenith, stood and extended a hand. "Ellen, Caitlin, thank you for this conversation," he said. "I think we've all witnessed something extraordinary. We'll be back tomorrow with a new show, but this will stay with us." The cameras cut off, but the tension lingered. Ellen and Caitlin stood on stage, eyes locked. Backstage, producers whispered that the interview was already going viral, clips racking up millions of views. The audience, many over 55, rose from their seats, their faces a mix of euphoria and reflection. Some saw Ellen as a person taking accountability, others as a star trying to save her career. But all felt they'd witnessed something authentic. Ellen extended a hand to Caitlin. "Can we talk?" she said quietly. Caitlin looked at her hand, then her face. She didn't smile but nodded. "Let's talk," she replied. They walked backstage, leaving the audience buzzing with conversation. No one knew if this talk would spark real change or remain a fleeting TV moment. But a fragile, tangible hope hung in the air that even a small step could change everything.